ready?
Ready.
All right. Side running light blinker. Make sure it's clean, not cracked or broken, and it works. Mirror frame. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or cracked. And make sure the nuts and bolts are all there. Your door handle. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or cracked, and it opens freely. Open it up. Come right here. This is your door seal. Make sure it's not cracked or broken. Your window. Make sure it goes up and down freely. Your door hinges. Make sure they're not bent, broke, or cracked, and all your nuts and bolts are all there and tight. Come here. Your grab handle. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or cracked, and your nuts and bolts are tight. Drop down to your steps and battery box. Make sure they're not bent, broke, or cracked. Make sure all your nuts and bolts are all there and tight. Check your batteries on the inside to make sure they're not cracked, broke, or leaking. Make sure you have no signs of corrosion. Make sure your terminals are tight and your wires are not worn, torn, or frayed. That's it. Come to your fuel tank. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or cracked, or leaking. Your fuel straps. Make sure they're not bent, broke, or cracked. Make sure your nuts and bolts are all there and tight. Check the rubber seal between them to make sure they're not cracked or broke or missing. From there, come to your fuel cap. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or bent, broke, or cracked. Make sure it's not leaking. Make sure the T-chain is up under here. From here, go to your fuel line. Make sure it's not cracked, broke, or leaking. Make sure your fittings are tight. Go to your frame. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or cracked. No illegal welds. All your nuts and bolts are tight. Check your catwalk. Make sure it's not bent, broke, or cracked. All your nuts and bolts are tight. Make sure it's clean. Make sure there's nothing on top of it that will get in the way of your lines. The green line right here is your electrical line. Make sure it's not worn, torn, or frayed. And you're going to check it from the cab all the way to the trailer. Next, your airlines. You have a service and emergency line. Make sure they're not cracked, broke, or leaking. And you're going to check it from the cab to the trailer. Don't forget your bungee cord. Make sure it's not cracked or broke, or it's there. Next, check your glad hands right here. This is your glad hands. Make sure your glad hands is not bent, broke, or cracked, or leaking. Your nuts and bolts are all there and tight. Next, you're going to check the rubber seal inside the glad hands to make sure it's not cracked, broke, or leaking, and it's there. And that'd be section 3.